What's up, nerds? Welcome to another edition of Them Nerds. Jerry over there, Tony over here, and we're here to talk to you today about some news and rumors in the world of Marvel, DC, and beyond. Before we begin, don't forget, we are still giving away this Wanda Funko Pop. All you have to do to be entered to win is like, subscribe, comment on our videos, interact with our stuff on social media at We Them Nerds on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And you could win Wanda herself. All right, so let's talk about the news. First of all, if you pay attention to our channel, you know that yesterday we posted something about Gina Carano being fired from The Mandalorian. So we might as well follow the hashtags and talk about some Star Wars stuff first, if that's all right with you, Gerald.
Sure.
All right. So Gina Carano fired. Lots of fan petitions, of course, to bring her back. Lots of fan petitions to recast her with other people. The two most interesting recastings that I saw, and I want to get your thoughts on this. Sonya Deville from the WWE, who I don't know if you're really familiar with. I'm not super familiar with her, but I have seen her work, and I think she'd be good. But the other one, who I think you might have opinions on, is Lucy Lawless, who we know as Xena, Warrior Princess. What do you think about recasting Carano?
And a Cylon. She was also a Cylon. Oh man, as spoilers, I just blew Battlestar Galactica.
Oh no!
It was out 20 years ago, folks. So I think we should stick, just let's get away from the idea of introducing anybody from professional wrestling. It takes a good 20 years of any professional wrestler to be able to build up a chops to actually be, profitable on the screen. There's no
Not everybody can be The Rock.
Yeah, exactly what I was going to say. The Rock is a completely different beast compared to everybody else. He already had a huge fan base going into acting, so people were going to be willing to go watch it. There's nobody really nowadays that really is pulling that kind of fanfare from people. Yeah. I think a lot of people would be, unless you're like a diehard wrestling fan like I was, 20 years ago, you probably don't even realize it's still even on TV.
Right.
So, but if I was going to choose, I would say Lucy Lawless. She's actually a great actress. She has the build similar to, Gina. I'm guessing, especially with the armor stuff and everything else. But she's a considerably good actress. So I mean, it wouldn't be, that. I also just don't know whether or not you need to recast it. I mean, you could just bring her in and maybe you have this whole, because they kind of look similar. I'm guessing that's the reason why people chose them. But you could just have the idea that maybe they're also clones like everybody else is, and maybe she's the original clone. And had this one not got a little bit, anti-Semitic, she would have eventually looked like this one.
Yeah, I don't know if recasting is going to happen or not. But Lucy Lawless would be good. Gina Carano, coming from MMA, she had a face that looked like it took a couple punches. And Lucy Lawless has taken pretty good care of herself. So even though there is an age difference, it's not. I mean, there's makeup and VFX where they could do that, but I think I'm with you on this one. I don't think we recast.
No, it's why recast a B level character on a TV show where you can just introduce a new character.
Yeah, it's not like Pedro Pascal went on a rant and now they have to figure that out. Although he wears a helmet the whole time.
It wouldn't matter anyways. I don't recognize his voice.
Right.
And but it's one of those things I don't think there was nothing about season 2 of Mandalorian that I thought to myself, my God, if she wasn't in this series, this would have been a horrible season.
Right. If that siege on the finale going onto Moff Gideon's cruiser, if it would have just been the two Mandalorian women and Fennec Shand, I don't think that people would have been like, this is missing something.
Yeah. Please follow my change.org petition below. That is a petition asking the original people who put a petition out to get her put back on the show, how many episodes they actually watched the show.
That's a lot of work. That is liberal use of the word petition.
Petition.
Mm-hmm. All right.
It's liberal use of people acting like they care whether or not who's on a cast of a show they never bother to watch because Tucker Carlson isn't on it.
It's true. So Elsewhere in Star Wars, Ray Park, who we know is Darth Maul from most recently Solo, a Star Wars story, and prior to that, Episode 1, Phantom Menace. Those are really his only live action performances. Most of his story was built in the animated stuff, voiced by Sam Witwer. Great character. He posted a picture of the head prosthetic that he uses when he plays Darth Maul, and he said, "Meet me on Dathomir," which is the home planet, of course, of the Zabrak, which is his race. The sort of theory making the rounds is he's going to appear on Kenobi. I don't know. Do you think we need any more live action Darth Maul?
Why not? I want to see what those robot legs do.
They do a lot. They're fancy, right?
Yeah. I
We'll see.
met a robot I don't like.
That's true. Darth Maul is one of my favorite characters, but like I said, most of the stuff that I really like about him happened in the animated series. So I don't know. There could be flashbacks in the Ahsoka series as well, because he did have some pretty hardcore interactions in the final episodes of the Clone Wars, where Ahsoka was sort of responsible for his capture. So there could be some throwbacks there. One last little tidbit of Star Wars news. Ubisoft, the major video game developer, is going to be producing an open world Star Wars video game. Lots of fans are clamoring for Knights of the Old Republic. That's not going to happen. My hope is that they're tying it into the new High Republic content that they've been releasing in comic books and novels. Yeah. What would you have to see out of an open world kind of Star Wars game? What activities would you want to be able to do? What would you want to be able to accomplish and see? How would you envision it?
The only thing I really care about is making shooting the guns easier. Oh, also, please don't make everything so dark.
Jerry and I like to play Battlefront 2, and at times we have poor performances.
At times, yes.
At times, many times, but that's at times.
That's what I would like to see. I would like to see the set, but I can't see anything because it's so dark.
Yes, we're old. We need brightness. I am hoping that, of course, I want there to be a very kind of open interpretation of how you can build your lightsabers if you are in fact supposed to be a Jedi. I want there to be kind of a constantly open sort of interaction between different people in the world, like GTA, where you're kind of, walking down a city street, and maybe down a side street there's like a crime that you have to go and deal with, or I'm hoping that it's very much like GTA in terms of the how alive the world is, and I'm hoping it's as interactive as like a World of Warcraft style MMORPG, being able to interact with people and
having to skin stuff.
Right. Yes. Every good game, you have to skin stuff.
Yeah. Mine for gold.
Right. Yes. That's exactly it. All right. Star Wars done. Quick little run through DC before we get to our favorite, which is Marvel. We're Marvel fanboys, in case you didn't know that. So only real DC news is it kind of has to do with the Snyder Cut, of course, which is going to be coming out. New teaser is out showing Darkseid and Calabac. New photos showing Black Suit Superman and Jared Leto's Joker prior to his time on Suicide Squad. Does this smattering of news make you any more hyped about the Snyder Cut?
I mean, no. It makes me interested to see. I spent $15 to watch the original movie, and I fell asleep 45 minutes into it at a theater with a movie that's literally, blaring. So I don't know. I guess because I get to watch this at home, I can just sleep here, which is nice. But I mean, it's fine.
I think that's like people are either like super hyped about this, or they have the same attitude that we do, which is like, okay, Yeah, we'll watch it.
I think that people are giving them. They are really. You've seen other stuff by this gentleman. You know, he had done other movies before this that weren't that impressive. You're giving a lot of credence to the idea that he's going to put in 14 minutes worth of new footage, and somehow that's going to make that movie salvageable. I mean, we aren't Instagram models. Throwing a black and white filter on it isn't going to make it any better. So I don't know. It is what it is.
Use a wide angle lens.
Yeah. Need an iPhone X. But yeah.
I don't know, man. And
it'll kill for 2.5 hours. I guess that's something. In pandemic, everything matters. When you can get, there's 2.5 hours where I didn't think about the fact of my untimely doom.
Yes. We won't spend much time here on Joss Whedon, but you know.
Oh, I plan on it.
Do you? Oh, I'm sorry.
I want to make sure that. Yeah, I want to make sure that we're fair and balanced. You know, I don't want people to think we're really coming down hard on Gina.
Well, yeah. So the Snyder cut, I think a lot of people are kind of into it just because it's like a palate cleanser with Joss Whedon, especially right now, given the fact that he's apparently a real asshole.
Yeah, he's a monster. No, the thing about it is about I wish that we would hear more from the Marvel studios to find out how he acted there. My guess is that he acted better at Marvel than he did at DC because of the fact that the Kevin Feige and the head of Disney, they're way more hands-on. So they probably noticed the temper tantrums coming when they were and noticed the show was becoming poop. I don't know, keep from cussing. So but I think it's just amazing that these people were even able to put out a movie. Maybe that's why the movie was so bad. You put a toxic person in the movie like that, and maybe it just, people are like, you get what you get. I mean, I've been there before. We've all been in an environment working where it's toxic, and you just think, you know what? This is all you get today.
Yep.
Today, the biggest thing coming out of it is your mom's name is Martha, and so is mine.
Everyone is Martha.
Everybody's a Martha. Martha was a Karen before Karen was
yes, Karen. Exactly. Also, DC related. Speaking of one of the members of the Justice League, Batman, Matt Reeves, the Batman, starring Robert Pattinson and Zoe Kravitz, is still coming down the pipe, and it was recently revealed by one of the producers of the HBO Max Gotham City Police Department themed show, which is yet unnamed, that they are going to be in the same universe. And that the show on HBO Max is going to have the same vibe and tone as Gotham, which was a good show. I enjoyed that show. And that it's going to act as sort of a year one, as a prequel sort of to Matt Reeves, the Batman. The Batman picks up around the second year of Bruce Wayne wearing the cowl. So now we have our 17th version of Batman?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Hopefully, Christian Bale was a good Batman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I didn't think. I'll be honest. I never thought Ben Affleck was a horrible Batman. A lot of people did. I didn't think he was any worse than I had seen before.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
I'm looking forward to the Robert Pattinson version. I think, especially since they're
he's always looked troubled.
Right.
He's always in pain.
Right.
That's Batman. So
and he has experience with bats as a previous vampire.
That's true.
No.
And he has experience with women who just want to steal from him, like Kristen Stewart.
True. So I don't know. That looks all right. One last piece of DC news before we move on to Marvel. We know that the Suicide Squad, helmed by James Gunn, who also may have had a few tweets that were a little bit rough in the past. The character from that film, Peacemaker, who is played by WWE superstar John Cena, is getting a spinoff on HBO Max, which is going to be debuting. It was just announced January of 2022. Cena is playing Peacemaker, who is kind of an anti-hero and all-around douchebag from the look of things. Gonna watch it?
I won't be seeing him.
Right. Okay.
I will wait for. First off, James Gunn is like a great producer, a great writer. If I find the movie to be hilarious, I will give the show a chance. But John Cena.
He hasn't been bad in some of the movies that
He hasn't been good.
I didn't say he was, but I've seen worse. I feel like him playing like kind of a goofy, smarmy douchebag. I think it might actually be a good role for him, and I actually think that it could be a pretty good show.
I just want DC and Star Wars and Marvel to branch out to the idea that there's plenty of people in the world that take steroids other than wrestlers.
It's true.
And they probably can act better. Just go out there. Hit up a Gold's Gym.
Stop at your local gym and look for the meatiest meathead you can find.
Yeah. Can you wear a helmet? In that place, it probably won't go over as well. But you might want to show them that you're a producer.
The helmet on Peacemaker reminds me of the people who worked on Lord Helmet's ship on Spaceballs. Just like this big goofy white helmet.
Yeah.
I don't know. All right.
While we're on DC though, I would like to point out that because of Joss Whedon's whole situation with them, obviously also because of Marvel, this week his career I think is gone this week. I think he's going to be unemployable. Yeah. Charisma Carpenter, who played Cordelia on the Buffy franchise and also on Angel, came out and put out a strongly written tweet about her experiences dealing with him, and then also supporting Ray Fisher. And I think a lot of people kind of thought that maybe I had heard that story that she gave about the fact that she was basically harassed off the set because she had the nerve to get pregnant years ago. Around the 20-year mark of the show, that's when it came out originally. And but she really came into the idea that it wasn't just then. It was basically the whole time she was on the show, she was threatened with constantly being fired by the man. And to the point that she was terrified to even act because she was afraid she would lose her job because of it. And then I think that I kind of thought, well, maybe this is like a spilled grapes kind of thing, because she's already given the story once. Now you're coming out with what's going on. But I think when you have Sarah Michelle Gellar saying, I love the idea that I was a part of this franchise and playing Buffy Summers, I do not want to be associated with Joss Whedon anymore. That tells you right there. And she's like, I'm done. There's people dying of a pandemic. I'm not going to go into everything I have to deal with, but I support the people who are coming out. Mm-hmm. Then you have Michelle Thatchenberg, I'm sure I butchered that name, who played Dawn. She came out this week and said that not only was it true, she was 15 years old on the series, and they had a known rule on the set that he was not allowed to be left alone with her.
Yikes.
Yeah. So, and then you have the female, I don't know her name, but she played Willow's girlfriend on it. She came out like 3 days after that and was like, not only was this true, here's my experiences also. So it sounds like he's just a pretty horrible human being. Yeah. I had heard rumors about the way he acted on the DC sets and everything else. And, a lot of times these guys, it's like, when you have this kind of control, it's just, you're just a douche. But it sounds like this guy might be even worse than that. And and I don't think he puts out, he has, a great imagination. Buffy especially was a great show. I enjoyed the first two Avengers, but I don't think that overcomes the fact that he's just a piece of crap. So you might as well just stop hiring him. Because if you're destroying the careers of young people this early on, making them not want to perform in things, then what's the point of even having him out there when he's only putting out subpar shit?
Right. This, to me, like, everybody who's clamoring, over the Cara Dune character and saying, Gina Carano said what she said, but you should just get over it and let her play the character. Well, that's up to the studio, right? And this stuff that's coming out about Joss Whedon, if I was an executive at any studio that was producing anything major, I wouldn't let him anywhere near any of my stuff.
Yeah.
Like, he should be canceled. The fact that so many people are out here corroborating the stories from the Buffy set and from the Justice League set, like, the dude is obviously, he doesn't belong in a position of power, especially around young girls.
Yeah. There was a new series that he was working on with HBO. The show was completely finished and it had already been picked up for a second season. And in post-production, they had fired him from the show. So, I mean, that tells you that his behavior continues on, whether he's getting called on it or not. So,
right. Yeah.
It is what it is. But,
yeah, which
move on to more, hopeful stuff, but keep that crappy guy off too.
Yeah.
The same thing.
For real.
Recast him with a less douche.
Right. Someone a little less rapey.
Yeah, obviously, when you got to tell people to stay out of people's places, I don't want to know what was going on there.
No kidding. All right, moving over to Marvel, which, in case you haven't watched our show before, is pretty much the main event for us. We are Marvel people first and foremost, it seems. Lots of good info coming out right now about the upcoming cinematic releases. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness cast Adam Hugill, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, who we know from the film
I couldn't tell you.
we know this guy, Old Adam, with the last name that I might have said wrong. He's been cast in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness as Rintra the Minotaur. And if you're not familiar with that character, it's a big-ass green Minotaur who can travel through the multiverse. In fact, in the comics, he hosts the astral body of Doctor Strange for a time. So Doctor Strange's astral spirit is roaming around in a big green Minotaur.
Yes, I'm guessing from if I was going to take a hint from just the casting that's been going on all together and with this new casting, there's a pretty big battle where Doctor Strange is fatally wounded and he has to leave his body using his astral self and he incorporates several different people so that he can continue on the battle. So I'm guessing that this must be where it's kind of brought in, because in the comics, that's when this Minotaur comes in and basically Doctor Strange talks him into, I need you to protect me until I can get back into my body.
Yeah. This movie's gonna be weird as hell.
Yeah, there's just gonna be so much stuff in all the movies. I don't know. I think everybody's gonna leave with a migraine. Like, what did I just watch? You guys gotta turn right back around and get back in line and rewatch it again.
I think Marvel is enjoying watching people going crazy speculating about WandaVision.
Yeah,
like on social media right now, and so they're like, "Oh, you guys like that kind of stuff? Here's a Minotaur."
Yeah.
Okay.
I saw people today arguing about whether or not Ultron's face was carved on a pumpkin. It's like, no, it's just a pumpkin, dude.
Yeah, there was one of those wacky inflatable arm waving like jack-o'-lantern things, and it had like Spider-Man eyes, and they're like, "This is from the One More Day storyline. It's definitely Mephisto." Like, come on. Okay, guys. They're doing this to F with us.
Yeah.
Totally. All right, moving on in Marvel news. Zoe Ashton has been cast as the main villain in Captain Marvel 2. I don't know anything about her. But in our conversations prior to filming today, we kind of decided, mostly you because you're a brilliant individual, that she will likely be playing who?
Moonstone.
Moonstone, yes. So Moonstone has had tons of interactions with Captain Marvel, with Monica Rambeau. I think that's where we're going. I think he's going to be the main villain.
Yeah, and I have something to add on to that. So I was doing some further research into it, and what they actually said was they were hiring for 2 spots. One for this female lead, which is the one we were just talking about, and the second one was for a male lead that would have a pivotal death within the first part of the movie. And as soon as I heard that, I was like, that's where it's coming from. They want a Clive Owens type to play it if they aren't able to secure Clive Owens. So in the comic books, Moonstone is not the original Moonstone. She's actually a psychologist, and she uses her abilities to go after the original Moonstone and cause him to believe that the gem he holds that gives him his power is killing him. And so she gasses him basically, and then kills him and steals the stone, becoming Moonstone. And that guy's name is Lloyd Bloch. Bloch. I don't. Whatever. You'll meet him in the movie. Yeah, you'll meet him in the movie. Oh, he's right next to that guy, Adam, right?
Yeah, Lloyd and Adam.
So I'm almost positive that's who he's going to be playing. He will be playing the original Moonstone, who ends up getting killed off. Probably like maybe even before the credits even roll. Like, somebody big, like people are like, oh man, and then they're like, ah.
Cool opening scene could be
later. Brad Pitt.
Right. A cool opening scene could be old Lloyd discovering the stone to begin with as kind of like a flashback, and then kind of do like a quick 5-minute progression of him like doing things and finding himself losing his mind or whatever, and then this new Moonstone kind of taking the stone from him like she does in the comics.
Yes,
it'd be good stuff. So also in casting, there's been a lot of buzz over the last week or so about Keanu Reeves being approached to play Kraven in Spider-Man, in the Sony Spider-Man films. and it came out, I think, just late yesterday or early today that he turned it down. He's not going to be playing Craven. I'm glad.
Yeah, I think that Keanu Reeves would do. I personally think he would be a great voice for a not animated, but like a CGI character. You know, like a Silver Surfer. Actually, think his very calm demeanor, speech pattern that he has,
right.
high, would do really well for somebody who's just been surfing the universe for
right.
A millennia.
It'd be even better if it was his character from Point Break.
It's different if it's Bill. He's just got caught. He just got caught in the phone booth for too long.
That's actually my dream casting for Keanu Reeves is Silver Surfer.
Yeah,
if there, because there's been a lot of talk about him he's locked up with something with Marvel. So Finn Jones, aka Iron Fist, has been making the rounds, talking about details of the unmade season 3 of Netflix's Iron Fist. And we were talking about this before. Who cares? It's not going to be made, right?
Yeah.
But the one thing that I like about it is Kevin Feige recently said in an interview that the Netflix characters are on the board, which is something he has said before about long-term plans. Like he must have just a big ass board in his office where he's like moving around the characters, and
it's a vision board.
Yes. You're good enough. You're smart enough.
Just pictures cut out of Vogue. Who's that? That's Iron Fist. What's this? Oh, it's the X Mansion.
That's so good. One last little piece from I had some other stuff, but it's not that important. One last little bit from Marvel. Black Widow, for the love of God. They still want it to be a theatrical release. Where are we going with this thing, man?
I don't know, maybe because they figured that they're opening up Disneyland for vaccinations. They can get enough people in Los Angeles to get vaccinated to be able to make a profit. I mean, I get what they're saying, that a $29.99 price point for a Disney Plus release probably isn't a way to make the movie profitable at all, or even be able to recuperate the money. But at some point, you got to ask yourself, your shows are all reliant on this movie coming out. So how long are we going to continue to push it out before you start affecting the actual stuff that is producing you money, like Disney Plus content?
Right.
So you just get it. I mean, even if you take a loss, people aren't going to be like, oh, Disney had their first flop. No, there's a pandemic. There's no way to make money. Nobody's making money.
Well, and another way to look at it too is, you say, oh, well, $29.99 a pop on Disney Plus isn't going to be profitable. It's a hell of a lot more profitable than leaving it on the shelf.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Plus, like as exciting as WandaVision has been, and as exciting as Falcon and the Winter Soldier is going to be, and of course we have Loki coming up later in the year, like at some point people are going to want like a movie, they're going to want this like big action movie that is with a familiar character. They got to put it on Disney Plus, if you ask me.
Well, yeah, and there's Disney Plus shows that are relying on that movie coming out. Hawkeye cannot come out before that movie comes out.
Right.
So
and who knows, there may be little connections that we haven't even been made privy to that are relying on it. And quit waiting. Just put it out.
Yeah.
Jeez. Oh yeah. One last little news nugget for me. It's really from both of us. Jerry texted me this, the one half of this, and I read the other half of my own. The HBO series adaptation of The Last of Us video game has cast its main characters, Joel and Ellie. Joel will be played by Pedro Pascal, aka the Mandalorian. And joining him as Ellie will be also a Game of Thrones alumna. She played Lyanna Mormont, and her name is Bella Ramsey. Had to look for that one. You think these are good castings?
Yeah, I mean, she was great in the show. I mean, I think it'll be just fine. I don't know if I'm guessing they're gonna have to speak in English or in American accents. I mean, because that's but neither of them are American. I don't think so.
Pedro Pascal, in interviews, I've seen him speak with an American accent, so he must be American.
Well, all I know is that that girl has a thick old Scottish sounding accent, so that's gonna be. I would love to hear that one.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. I'm always amazed when people with like thick British accents or Scottish accents or Irish accents, when they are able to speak like, with an American accent. I'm like, wow, that's
Yeah,
really impressive.
she's all like,
They must feel like they must feel like they're making themselves sound dumber when they talk like
yeah. Oh,
Americans.
100%. I feel like
Yeehaw! I am an American.
I feel like it all the time when I'm all like there, and there, and there.
My.
The Russo brother Joe Russo is talking about the idea that he has been uh, very open about the idea that he wants to be involved with Wolverine being brought into the MCU, but he does feel that it needs to have a large hiatus before he's brought in, just to get basically wash the hands of the Hugh Jackman version of the character.
Totally agree. That's one of those characters that is going to be really hard to recast. So the longer of a break they give it, the better, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think if they could probably go for like 6 years or so before introducing him, and yet introduce the X-Men beforehand, because in the comics you had a what is it called, like a flagship of the core team before they ever even introduced him. It was like 20 years before they introduced Wolverine into it. So
Right. Yeah, and it's already been a little ways since Logan.
yeah,
So I think they should still wait a few years, but I would love to see the Russos take Wolverine on. That would be great.
absolutely.
They've done a good job. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us this week for all the news and rumors and so forth in the world of nerdiness. Don't forget to follow us on social media at We Them Nerds on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. That's all from us. Be good. Be good to each other. Bye.
Stay nerdy.
I was waiting for it.